Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the tier 10 Japanese aircraft carrier, the Hakuryu. This is a match that happened after the patch 0.5.12 went live, which means that the economy has changed, and that's what I'm mostly going to talk about. But my opinion summed up would have been expressed by the following idea I had for a video, but I didn't do it. So I make a video titled My Opinion on the 0.5.12 CV economy changes. And then the entire video is just me laughing because, well, they're a joke. I didn't do it, of course, because I'm not very good at this laughing thing and not very good at making these kinds of jokes, which is sad, but it is what it is. So yeah, I think the changes are absolutely horrible, and I don't understand how it happened. I mean, okay, sure, the other ship classes like cruisers and battleships and destroyers, I don't really like the changes there either, but they at least make some sense. When I play those ships, I tend to still make money, at least some of it. But in carriers, that's not really happening. Almost every single Midway match I played, I lost at least a little bit of money. And the same was for most Hakuryu matches. By the way, look at that fighter that I'm gonna strafe. Did you just see what it did there? It literally just was sideways on, and then it was suddenly strafing towards me. I've noticed that there's more and more of this kind of lag. In fact, after this patch, I had a situation where a plane literally teleported almost half a screen length. And these are the kinds of things that don't really make carrier play pleasant. On top of that, I mean, with these economy changes, I find it really difficult to actually have good results with carriers. Sure, I'm not very good at them anymore, and I mean, I just don't understand what average players are doing. If I'm having trouble with this kind of stuff, then what are average players doing? Sure, if you read things like the forums or Reddits or whatever, you'll hear about these memes about how carriers, a good carrier player will just instantly nuke destroyers at the start of the match or anything, or things like that, but really it seems very inconsistent. I can maybe count the number of people who probably can consistently snipe destroyers at the start of a match, maybe on one or two hands, because for me at least it's completely situational. Sometimes I can, other times I can't, and you don't really get that many strikes as a carrier. You get like, what is that, 4 to 5 strikes per game, maybe even less depending on if it's a very quick match, because there just isn't enough time to do more strikes. And I don't really like, I don't like this type of gameplay, because if you aren't consistent on striking DDs, and let's say you do 2 of your strikes on destroyers out of your 4, and both of them are botched, you literally end up doing nothing in those strikes. At least if we were striking battleships, you usually had at least some chance of dealing damage. So it's... I don't like the carrier gameplay itself anymore because of this. I feel that either they should make the striking destroyers easier, which is a very dumb idea, because I kinda like not dying when a carrier looks at me. When a carrier usually tries striking me, I have absolutely no problem staying alive in a destroyer. But the other thing could be, I just don't know, because right now battleships have way too much anti-air. If they stay together, it's very difficult to strike them. Cruises are even more difficult with this patch because of the new rudder shift module. You know, the one that gives you minus 40% on top of the minus 20% already, meaning that your Kutuzov has 3.9 second rudder shift, your New Orleans is 3.4 second rudder shift. These are absolutely insane rudder shift times. They are literally better than some destroyers at those tiers. So I feel that it's very difficult to strike things, and I don't know how many people actually keep doing these things. It definitely isn't really working out for me. Sure, I mean, right now, this match, I'm having a pretty good time, because first of all, I'm against the Hakuryu that doesn't have air supremacy, which means that every single fighter fight I can win. This of course does mean that the enemy doesn't really want to do fighter fights, but it's okay, because I can do my strikes, and I can protect the strikes, and that makes it okay. I don't really want to bring my fighters too out of position either, so it's difficult to defend my fleet. I mean, that's always going to be difficult, because you can always just sail literally somewhere else. Or, sorry, you can just take your planes and go strike literally anywhere else other than where, you know, the enemy fighters are. It's not a very difficult thing to do. So, if the enemy carrier doesn't really engage my fighters or my planes, then there's very little I can do in terms of trying to kill planes. So all I can do is keep striking the enemy team. But apparently these rewards are nerfed pretty heavily nowadays. So, I mean, this game is an example. You'll see at the end just how ridiculously poor the rewards are now. You pretty much need to kill planes and spot a lot of things, but it's not always possible. You just aren't in situations where you can do that. And those things aren't always under your control. Like, somebody can give me feedback on what I should have done differently to have a better game this time, where I would have got much more experience. You just have to remember that I can't kill a destroyer for certain. I can at least hit a battleship for significant damage. But yeah, I mean, in chat the enemy CV tells us that, yeah, he's not very good, but honestly, he doesn't have air supremacy. He really doesn't want to engage with my fighters with his fighters. Of course, this does mean that if I use my fighters to, you know, all the ammunition on them, I wouldn't be able to strike, because then his fighters will definitely come in to, you know, affect the game. So just leaving those fighters out there wards off the enemy fighters, and I can strike at will. And because we're winning the game, that's good for me, right? That is exactly what you would want to do if you're winning and are ahead. You want to stay ahead. You don't want to do risky things that might make you fall behind. But that doesn't seem to be what you want to do anymore. I just mean that the changes to the carrier economy are absolutely abysmal. I don't know if I have seen a bigger mistake by, you know, the developers so far in this game with patches. Because I definitely don't think that they looked at the numbers and were like, yeah, we want carriers to not get rewarded at all. Unless, of course, you think that they want to, like, remove carriers from the game or something. In regards to other ships, I think that the situation is better. Oh my god, I just hit 12 of the torpedoes. I literally hit all torpedoes in that drop. That's incredible. Of course, I mean, I struck 2 tier 8 battleships who probably didn't have anti-air skills, and they probably didn't even click on the planes, because otherwise you tend to lose many more planes than I did. But of course, AA is RNG, so I might have just got lucky, or they got unlucky. Anyways, in regards to the other ship classes, I'm not actually certain I like these changes, because they essentially, there are some issues that I never thought about before, what tanking damage could cause, or spotting. Namely the fact that these are things that rely on your teammates, which is okay, but when your teammates play nicely. But if your teammates play poorly, and your rewards you know, depend on them not playing poorly, it's very difficult to do anything. For instance, if your team lemming trains into A1, you will have to follow them, because you can't get any spotting damage if you're the only one, you know, in the middle of the map without any allies around. Sure, you might be spotting the enemy, but if there are no allies to shoot them, then I'm sorry, but it won't give you anything. And the same applies to essentially... Okay, sorry, it doesn't apply, but tanking damage, you need to go where the enemy lemming train is. You need to find enemies to get that experience. And this doesn't always mean that you're playing for the objectives. This issue is something I really noticed on Hotspot. You know, on that map, people like, when they spawn on the western side of the map, they like going to the western map edge and just, I don't know, AFK there or something. And if they spawn on the eastern side, they go on the eastern map edge. But the result of that is that nobody is playing for the objectives properly, or very few people. And the ones that are getting punished for it. They aren't actually, or they aren't rewarded for it. Because the rewards are from the spotting and tanking experience. By the way, I actually checked, and tanking damage itself doesn't really reward you all that well. Maybe it's like an X multiplier, but anyways, now let's look at these results. I did 200,000 damage. 25 torpedo hits, 25 bomb hits. I killed 3 ships. I even got high caliber, and I got 1077 base experience. I am number 1 on the team in a tier 10 match. I killed 3 ships. I got high caliber, and I got 1077 experience. And I lost 23,000 credits. This is with premium. Without premium, I would have lost 100,000 credits. Think about that for a moment. This was a very strong result. I did 200,000 damage. Sure, I hit tier 8 ships, but that's all I could hit, and the enemy wouldn't engage my fighters, so it's not like I can go and do something special with them. And yet I lost money. With premium in this match. And I got 1077 experience. If you look at the team scores in general though, they're horrible. Everyone has a horrible match here. Because 1077 is the first result in a tier 10 match. This is something I've pretty much never seen before. Sure, the game lasted 11 minutes, but you can have many shorter games and some longer games, but many games don't last that much longer than this one did. So I have no idea what you would need to do to actually get great results. Like, look at the enemy team. Their number 4 ship is 374 experience. Something is really fishy here. This does not seem normal. And I don't know, I have seen that many, like, these kinds of results were echoed. Sure, in this instance I'm mostly talking about aircraft carriers, because this is what I was playing, but I mean, there's 11 people that aren't carriers on our team. Yet they also got very weak results, and I don't know. These changes just don't seem very useful. We still won the game, and we killed quite many enemies, so I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. I just think that these economy changes weren't good at all. They don't really make all that much sense to me. Because, sure, they say tanking damage gives experience, but when I actually tried it, I got 2.9 million potential damage in a Tirpitz, but I specifically wanted to try it in a way where I didn't get all that much experience otherwise. That was very useful. I just got lucky in that kind of match to get where I could get a high potential damage. I got 2.9 million potential damage in my Tirpitz. I did like 10,000 damage or something, and pretty much nothing else. And I got like 600 experience with the last guy on our team being at 500, which means that the base experience for just taking part in that match was probably like 400 experience. So that 2.9 million potential damage tanking that I did gave me pretty much nothing. So unless it's a multiplier, that one doesn't seem to really give that much experience either. But anyways, I mean, it is what it is. I just think that carriers already weren't very strong in terms of gameplay. They aren't very fun, in my opinion. Maybe some people like just spotting and flying around or something. I don't. Definitely don't. And these economy changes make things much, much worse even. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I would like to thank the Patreons on Patreon for supporting the channel. Sorry for not putting out all that many videos recently. Thank you very much for your continued support, Tab Extra, and I hope I see you guys next time.